Welcome to HDPP Live on a Saturday night to the UK and around the world with photos, memories and friends. This is HDPP Live. How are you this evening? Are you all well?
Hinckley District past and present for you, meeting friends old and new. Streaming Wednesdays and Saturdays too, with founder members Paul and Sue. The smiles that we bring are a heritage thing. HDPP, keeping history alive. HDPP, streaming HDPP live. Where local memories survive. HDPP, streaming HDPP live. Film clips, photos, memories and friends helps a dreary night go by. We're in Hinckley, six of the best, stupendous, quizzical high. The smiles that we bring are a heritage thing. HDPP, keeping history alive. HDPP, streaming HDPP live. HDPP, where local memories survive. HDPP, streaming HDPP live. Let's take you back in time. A community affair. We'll take you for a ride. Henson's Cab will take you there. We're making history. HDPP, chat room applauses. History supporting local causes. HDPP, streaming HDPP live. Betty is our queen bee. The sweetest honey candy. Dangerous Den here again. HDPP live. Hey, you know we keep it in HDPP.
Here we go again. Good evening. Oh, hello. Oh, cooey. Oh, hello. Oh, hello. Wow. Here we are again then. Sunday evening with Hinckley District, past and present, live from the live from the heart of Blight here, really. And it's lovely to have you with me on this Sunday evening. And I was a little concerned earlier that maybe the tennis would make a few late arrivals, if you're into your tennis, that is. I don't know what tennis is about, like I don't know what cricket is about, but I do know that the final you've just seen was something special. And that guy that won it, wow, he got Djokovic sorted, didn't he? That's all I shall say. What a great final. But I could appreciate that, even though I know nothing about it. Let's just put it that way. Well, anyway, here we are. And how are you on this Sunday evening? Plenty of people in the chat room, as per usual, which is really, really good. And I'll scroll to the top of the list because the first person there was Anne. All the way from sunny Western Supermud. And she said, after torrential rain and a flooded motorway, we went to Malvern today, and nice to see the sun. Yes, it has been a little bit yucky, hasn't it? But hey, listen, I don't mind. It's the week after the coming, the one that's going to count for us. Just to remind you, we won't be here next Sunday. We will not be here. Yours truly, we're off on a little break. So, and I won't know whether there'll be one the following week because whether I have time to put a programme together. But we'll talk about that later in the programme anyway. Ian Roberts is here. Good evening, Ian. David Blower, who was leaning up my door for hours earlier on till I opened it quietly and he fell in. Also, Kevin Beasley, all the way from Babage. Hi, Kevin, glad you're here. And Russett's with us as well this evening. Wishing everybody a good evening in the room. Kath Denny's here as well. And Jeff Wallace, well, did he pull a bit of a flanker on me yesterday? Absolutely brilliant. Long story short, and I have posted the picture of the hansom cab that Mr. Jeff Wallace has... He printed it, it was one of these 3D printer things, and it was quite strange. We'd been scanning in the morning. We went to the Citizens Club for light refreshments, as we always do on a Saturday. And by the time I'd got my drink, sat down, took my coat off, and then I looked round, and there was this hansom cab behind me from where I normally sit. And I seen it, but I didn't see it, type of thing. And I had to do a double take. I thought, hansom, but then I seen Sue's name on it. And I thought, and then I seen HDPP. I thought, hang on a minute. Jeff, that was a wonderful surprise. Thank you very much. I'm blown away. I keep looking at it thinking, this is fantastic. And it's, we have actually made a transportation box. In fact, hang on. I've got it here, Jeff, just to prove it. Hang on. This is what we will be transporting it in when we go to the schools, because we do want to take it so we can show the children. That's its transportation, but at the moment it's sitting nice and high and safe on the top of one of our cupboards here at home. Now, that was a wonderful surprise, fantastic, and I really am. I'm really, really chuffed with it. So thank you very much, Jeff. Pat Galloway's here with a big kiwi. Now, whenever you're down Castle Street and you see an HDPP member, you know the drill. Kiwi! Or hello, whichever one of them you want to do, which is a perfectly fine greeting, because that's how we are here at HDPP. David Allen's here from Boston in Lincolnshire, and Clive Armstrong has joined us as well. Now, please remember to like the video, please. It all helps with our antibiotics. If you would do that, please, that would be a big help. Thank you very much. And Mary Blake just saying, what a great tennis match. Like I say, I only saw the last sort of 25 minutes, but I could see that guy. I thought, I think this guy's going to win. And he did. So there we go. My. David S. is here as well. Good evening, everybody in the room. That's great. And Mr. Noser is here too. We've got a nosy tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be revisiting one of a classic nosy tonight, so that'll be good. And I'm delighted to welcome Jane Brown and Tim, who I'm going to give him a plug. It doesn't matter. I'm going to give him a plug. He went and did a small fence job for my son a couple of weeks ago. Tim, you'll be delighted to know that it has survived the winds. It's standing there solid as a rock, as Ashford and Simpson used to sing about. And he's really chuffed with it. And he said he obviously made a good job, Dad. He said, because it ain't moved a bit. So nice one, Tim. And like I say, and if all your fencing requirements, I will direct you through to Tim, because seriously, Tim and his guys there have got it all in hand. That is brilliant. Okay, Dangerous Den is here. Now listen, I want you to know that since my BEM has been awarded, Den has become, he's become my right-hand man. So much so that yesterday he very much kindly offered to take us down to our scanning session, because we didn't know how the weather was going to be, because it was looking a bit, bit rubbish, to be honest. So Dennis says, it's okay. He says, I'll chauffeur you down and I'll bring you back, which was very, very kind, Dennis. Well, as we was approaching the car yesterday, it was ever so funny. He parked on the car park in Thornycroft Road. He got the doors open and he says, good morning, Your Highness. And I said, thank you, Perkins. And I have to be honest, it has stuck. So when Dennis is in chauffeur mode, he's Perkins, and it just fits, and I've been laughing and chuckling about that all morning. So not his Dangerous Den on here tonight, but when he's in chauffeur mode, he's Perkins. Only right and proper, I would say. So brilliant. The crops are here, good. I've been treading water here to know that they have got in. Glad you're here, Marie, Alan. Jan Kirby's here. John Denny's here too. Mr. Smugly. I wonder how he's going to do tonight, 6 of the best. And I'll tell you about that, because it's a bit of a killer tonight, ladies and gentlemen. And you'll see in just a moment. Actually, I've said hello. Oh, hello to Elaine. Nice to know you. And Kath as well. Kay Norton. Nice to know you're with us. Okay, now then. So, into business we go. First of all, before we set out 6 of the best, let me just remind you of some of the things upcoming. Here's our diary dates. Look, next weekend, it's the medieval events in Argent's Mead. 2 days. 2 days of Knights in Armour. Might chafe a bit, but however, that's coming up next weekend. Now, as I say, Sue and I will not be there, but Hinckley District past and present will be there, thanks to Jan Kirby, thanks to Marie, thanks to Steph and Pat. They are going to be there over the 2 dates in Argent's Mead. So please make sure you pop along and see what else is gone. It's going to be a great, great day. In fact, here's the poster for it. You can see what's going on. Hinckley Archaeological Society will be there giving little tours of the Castle Mound, and they'll tell you quite a bit about that, trust me. We've got a medieval jester. Somebody said, is that you, Paul? No. My jokes don't rise to jester level, as you already know. There's a Richard III play taking place as well, and the Barber Surgeon. Kids, you're going to love it. You're going to love it. And honestly, the Barber Surgeon, which will be coming to HDPP One Social Night, I think that's going to be in January, just for your delectation. So that's what's coming up very, very soon. In fact, as early as next week. So please go along. And a little bit later, our school assembly event taking place in St Mary's Church on Sunday afternoon, the 24th of September. And already we're getting plenty of inquiries about this. Promise you, it's a great little afternoon in the church. Plenty of tea and cake and coffee afterwards. And this time I'll be able to stop and talk to everybody. Looking forward to that indeed into September. And don't forget also, with our forthcoming dates, we have from August onwards, we have guest speakers every night up to Christmas. I know, I said the C word, didn't I? Who's seen the Christmas advert on the TV the other night? Couldn't believe it. Christmas trees being advertised. But anyway, we won't talk about that at the minute. It's far too early. But don't forget, in August, our social night, Tony York, and he's going to be coming to talk. It's a fantastic talk, actually. The people in events that defined Hinckley during the Civil War. That's what he's decided to call it. And there's some very notable people that were about in Hinckley during the Civil War. Come along and enjoy that. And I know that some of you can't wait for September, and Mr. Nosy himself will be there. I know you're looking forward to having Steve there and Dave. That's going to be a super little night. So we've got plenty to look forward to. So please make sure you come along and attend these little events, because otherwise it looks very silly me standing there going, oh, well, what should we do tonight then? There we go. Now then, 6 of the best tonight. Now, it's an easy one, but there's a couple of stinkers in there. Yeah? Are you ready to play? Now, remember, as always, do not put your answer in that chat room. And particularly when we get to the end of the session. I mean, Dave Blow was well ahead of himself the other week. He were blabbing out all the answers. And then Queen Bee started up as well. However, has anybody seen Queen Bee? I bet she's nodded off. Anyway, time for 6 of the best. Remember, don't put your answers in the chat box. Keep it till the end. Okay. Oh, I just mentioned Queen Bee, and as if by magic, ding, she appears. Hello, Queen Bee. Good. Here we go then. Right. Let us go over to 6 of the best. Let's just get the right button. Here we go. Now, you will need your pencils and papers here, because there's 2 working out with words. You'll see what I mean. So 6 of the best it is, where we challenge you every Sunday evening to work that brain. If anything like mine, doesn't take much working at all. So here you go with question number 1. Between 2017 and 2022, how many times was the A5 railway bridge struck by lorries? Ha! It's been in the local news in the last week, actually. One of those is the correct answer. You know, what, strike 1 and you're out. Yeah, but one of them is the correct answer. So once again, don't put it in the chat room, please. Please don't. Right, good. Right, so that is your question number 1. Here's your first stinker. Now, whether Mr. Smugly will have a go at this one too. Right, the letters of the word allergy can be rearranged to form 3 other 7-letter words. I can hear the groans now. Did you? Oh, God. Can you find all 3 of them? So let me just leave that on the screen a moment. The letters of the word allergy can be rearranged to form 3 other 7-letter words. So first thing, write down allergy, right? Then you can see what other 3 7-letter words you can make out of that. Okay, trust me, there are 3. Mrs. G has this is verified. Mrs. G has verified. Yes, this is quite correct. Okay, so the letters of the word allergy can be rearranged to form 3 other 7-letter words. Can you find all 3 of them? John's got 2 already. You see, Mr. Smugly's straight in. Well done, John. But there is 3. Can you find them? We will find out in a bit. Question number 3. Right then. Midsummer's Day in the Northern Hemisphere. The sun is directly above the equator. Is that true or false? Quite straightforward. Were you paying attention at school? Obviously not. Question number 4. Guess the year. This was the year that Radio Caroline sank in the Thames estuary. Dr. Robert Runcie becomes the Archbishop of Canterbury and MG car production ends after 6 years. But what was the year? Okay. Moving on. I'll just start my piano up again. A very easy where am I? Because I thought, well, we've got to give some people something a bit more easy to go on. So where in Hinckley? And it is easy. I appreciate that. Where in Hinckley am I? And that. So while you're still working out the that other question, here comes the anagram. And once again, this has been verified by Mrs. G. Ashby in Pend knocks Mark down. Now I'll leave that on the screen just so you can get all your letters sorted, because I know David Blower tends to lose his letters on the floor, don't you, David? Put them right then. So there you go. Now then, I've got to remember what this one were now, Mrs. G. Let's just get you down with Ashby in Pend knocks Mark down. Okay, and then in a moment or two I can give you a clue when we've got it sorted. Don't look at me in that silly smiling face. I'm looking over to her. I'll find it in a minute. Anyway, so there you go. I can't just remember offhand because we did this 2 days ago. She's laughing like mad over there. So I'll give you a clue when I'm just reminded what it is. I've normally got it written down in front of me. She is sitting there, tight-lipped with a silly smile on her face, like she's got the Cheshire Cat. So Ashby in Pend knocks Mark down. That is the anagram, and in a moment I'll give you a clue when I've found out what it is. Okay, so let's go through one more time. Between 2017 and 2022, how many times was the A5 railway bridge struck by lorries? Question 2. The letters of the word allergy can be rearranged to form 3 other 7-letter words. Can you find all 3 of them? True or false? On Midsummer's Day in the Northern Hemisphere, the sun is directly above the equator. True or false? Simple as that. And guess the year. Radio Caroline sank in the Thames estuary. Dr. Robert Runcie becomes the Archbishop of Canterbury, and the MG car production ends after 56 years. What was the year? Where am I? Dead easy this time, actually. Right in the middle of Hinckley. That's all I shall say. But where? That'd be nice. Good. And the anagram question. Ashby in Pend knocks Mark down. I can't believe I haven't got my notes in front of me. I've suddenly realised I haven't got my notes. Are you going to tell me in a moment? Oh, yeah, she's going to tell. I'll give you a clue in just a moment what we're looking for, because we did this the other day, because I had to try and get ahead of myself. Anyway, Jeff Wallace says, well, I've got the 3 words. Oh, well done, Jeff. You mean you beat Mr. Smugly, obviously. But Mr. Smugly's in the kitchen at the minute. Yeah, he's doing the cooking while Kath sits there watching the TV. Can't blame you there. Okay, then. Now then, I'll play you a little video, and then I'll give you your clue for the anagram, because, like I say, I've normally got it. I can't believe the bit of... See, here's my writing pad, look. And I've got the 3 words, by the way. 3 words are on there, and the year, but I haven't... Ah, dear. Right, okay, then. Oh, look. And Russell's even cleverer. She says, got over the 3 words as well. I think she's saying there, well, you are clever, Russell. Always said it. Okay, right then. Let's go back in time. Let's enjoy this very short video. Oh, look, Pat Galloway, I've got the 3 words. Oh, right, okay. Good. Okay, then. And Catherine says, we've got our roles right. Yes. Him in the kitchen, yeah. Have you moved his book into the kitchen so he can be doing that at the same time? Can he multitask? Yeah. Good evening to John Fletcher. Just joined us. Hi, John. Nice that you could join us. Matron, yes. Going back in time. Listen, how about those lollipops we used to love as kids? Yeah? Yeah? Okay. Have a look at this.
Whenever we reminisce about childhood, one thing that most of us will happily recall is the 6-week summer break from school, which always seemed to go on forever. During this time we would go on holiday with our parents, play out all day with friends, and go into a frenzy of excitement every time we heard the jingle of the ice cream van. While there are many ice creams and lollies from those days which most of us still remember today, such as Cider Quench, Fab, Zoom and Feast, many of which are still going strong today, there are other long-lost frozen treats which are now forgotten, and it is these neglected former favourites which we will pay tribute to today. This is Lost Ice Creams and Lollies That You May Have Forgotten. During the 60s, 70s and 80s, the 2 main producers of individual ice creams and lollies in the United Kingdom were Walls and Lion's Made. In fact, it's almost impossible to look at this logo without associating it with the ice cream vans of childhood. During the 1970s in particular, Lion's Made seemed to corner the market in officially licensed ice creams and lollies, releasing a variety of products that were tied in with popular television shows and films of the day. While the shows themselves may still be remembered well today, the same can't be said for the products. For instance, while the majority of us will be familiar with the $6 Million Man TV series, how many remember the Bionic Lolly? Released by Lion's Made in the meltingly hot, never-to-be-forgotten summer of 1976, the Bionic Lolly was flavoured with lemonade and spearmint. Around the same time, Lion's Made introduced the Space 1999 lolly.
The amazing new lolly from Lion's Made, Space 1999, icy lime flavor outside, oozy red center, Space 1999, with 3 picture cards from Lion's Made.
An official tie-in to the Jerry Anderson produced TV series, Space 1999 was a refreshing combination of lime, vanilla and strawberry flavours. What's more, each lolly came with a free trading card, albeit featuring slightly rubbish drawings. Nonetheless, there were 25 cards to collect in total. This wasn't the first time that television series created by the great Jerry Anderson had been licensed to create ice lolly brands. Before finding their own identity in later years, the classic lollies Zoom and Fab were both spun off from Jerry Anderson TV shows. Released in 1963, Zoom was initially a tie-in to Fireball XL5, before being paired with Joe 90 in later years.
Joe, we must destroy the control center and the mastermind responsible. Zoom is ready.
I'll try, Uncle Sam.
We have less than 15 seconds to save London, and perhaps the world.
I found the hidden laboratory. Launch Lion's Made Zoom immediately.
Well done, Joe.
Well done, Zoom.
Zoom. Only 6pence from Lion's Made.
In 1967, the hugely popular Thunderbird spawned the Fab Lolly, destined to become an all-time classic in the world of ice creams and lollies, and one which is still available today. A couple of long-lost Jerry Anderson brand ice lollies from Lions Made, Super Sea-Jet and Orbit, are now pretty much forgotten. Super Sea-Jet was an official Stingray product, while the Orbit, launched in 1968, was tied into Captain Scarlet. Of course, Lions Made weren't the only ones who realised linking their products to a successful TV show could be very lucrative indeed. In 1967, Walls took their already established Sky Ray ice lolly, updated it with a new shape, and struck a licensing deal with the makers of Doctor Who. The new Sky Rays featured collectible cards, and if you saved enough wrappers, you could send off for Doctor Who's Space Adventure book. In 1975, Walls struck gold with another Doctor Who inspired ice lolly, Dalek's Death Ray, featuring the always reliable combination of mint and chocolate ice cream. One of the most popular of all the various TV tie-in lollies over the years, Dalek's Death Ray came in a series of collectible wrappers, a simple but highly effective marketing ploy from the people at Walls. However, by 1978 the Dalek's Death Ray was no more, as there was a new merchandising king in town. Along with science fiction, the horror genre was hugely popular in the 70s, and our friends at Lions Made and Walls duly provided us with some horror-inspired frozen treats. In 1973, Lions Made launched Haunted House. While the lolly itself was a rather bland, plain ice cream, what made Haunted House such a favourite at the time were the images of various monsters printed on the lollies using edible ink. The fun part was you never knew which monster you were going to get until you took off the wrapper. In a similar vein, Walls' Magic Monster lollies featured wrappers on which the image of a monster would magically appear once you took the lolly out. Perhaps the best remembered of the horror-inspired ice lollies of the 70s was the classic Count Dracula's Deadly Secret from Walls. Encased in midnight black ice and featuring a blood-red jelly and ice cream centre, Count Dracula's Deadly Secret proved to be a big hit, and in 1981 Walls released a new version in the shape of the Count himself and now called simply Walls Dracula.
The unthinkable has happened. The impossible is now true. I've been brought to life in a horrifyingly real iced lolly from Walls. Get your fangs into the strangest lolly you've ever tasted before it's too late. Walls Dracula. It's really horrible.
Away from the horror and science fiction genres, younger children were catered for with the launch in 1976 of the Mr. Men range. The Mr. Men ice lollies were fairly generic mixed fruit flavour ices that were pretty bland all told. However, kids wanted them more for the different Mr. Men characters on the wrappers and the jokes that were written on the sticks. Throughout the 70s and early 80s, the demand for ice cream and ice lollies remained huge, and there were so many different products available, most of which are sadly no longer around, that if I were to include them all, this video would be around 3 hours long. So, here is a further selection of forgotten favourites from the golden age of ice lollies. How many of these do you remember? What were your favourite ice creams and lollies from childhood? Can you think of any other forgotten gems not mentioned in the video? Please let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed today's video, you can relive more nostalgic memories in the videos on your screen now. As always, thanks for joining me on another nostalgic journey. Your company is much appreciated.
Another great production from Stu View. Thank you, Stu. And some memories in there. There's some memories in there. And Anne Hunt said, where was I when all these lollies were about? You were probably kept away from them, Anne. I remember a lot of them. I can't remember all of them. Remember a lot of them. And of course, the Fab Lolly and Zoom and all that at the time were very, very popular. And but I had to laugh. I had to laugh. A lolly gobble. You can't do that now. How could you get away with that? Brilliant. Brilliant fun. And like I say, we'll have some more nostalgia for you next time. Now listen, we've sorted the anagram out, and I do apologise. I just had a blank moment at the time. Now, you want the clue for the anagram? I'll give you a clue for the anagram just very, very quickly. Let's nip through 6 of the best very quickly. I'll start in the proper place. Here we go. Question 1. Between 2017 and 2022, how many times was the A5 bridge stuck? Okay, struck, not stuck. Struck. One of them is the correct answer. Question 2. Letters of the word allergy can be arranged to form 3 of that 7-letter words. Can you find all 3 of them? Midsummer's Day in the Northern Hemisphere. The sun is directly above the equator. True or false? Guess the year. Radio Caroline sank in the Thames estuary. Robert Runcie becomes the Archbishop of Canterbury. And MG Card production ends after 56 years. What was the year? Where am I in Hinckley? Pardon me. Where am I in Hinckley? Really, really easy one. And then, the anagram. Ashby in Pend, Knox Markdown. There. Easy. And I know Mr. Smuggley, I'm sure, is going to get it anyway. And the clue is, quite simply, as I put there in the chat room, a country estate not far from Hinckley. There you go. Country estate not far from Hinckley. Get those maps out. That's what I shall say. And see how you do with that. A country estate not far from Hinckley. Ashby in Pen, Knox Markdown. There. That's brought back some memories here, and Alan Cropp said, I remember some of those prices shown in that last video, absolutely. And Jan Kirby says, Cornish Yut Bar. Yeah, I remember the Cornish. The Cornish ice cream lollies, they were gorgeous, they were. I didn't see the Mivvy. Used to love a Mivvy. What about a Mivvy? Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to slightly change what I was going to do, and I'll save the next one for next time. What I want to do, and Russet's with us tonight as well. So, Russet, we thought we'd, just for a bit of fun, I thought we could run this next feature as well, which I've had in the little play box here for a little while. We're going to go back in time. We're going to go back to 1990, and a film which we did at Castlemead Radio. And it was Hinckley Hospital Open Day in 1990. There's a few faces I know with people no longer with us, so I'm going to enjoy watching this one. Just before we started Castlemead Radio back then. And look out for our Russet, looking wonderful on the stall. Here we go. You're seeing the views of what would be the Castlemead Radio studio, and this is before we moved all the equipment in. And we went outside, and this is what was going on there. Ian Smith, one of our presenters. He gets an ice cream in a bit. And all this was being held out in the hospital garden and car park. So in the hospital garden, the ever popular Find the Key in the key box. There's Castlemead Radio's first stuff that we were selling that time, and merchandise that we were doing at the time. Collector's items now, I'll have you know. even Castlemead Radio T-shirts. We were all dressed up in appropriate dress because we were celebrating 90 years of the hospital, if I remember right.
As soon as I came over here,
Don't know who this is.
deserted the store. And I said, come on, someone speak to me. And this lady here said, I can't speak to you, I'm foreign, I'm from Scotland. So, what we're really looking for, was it Angie, you say?
Yes.
Angie, where's Angie?
She's just coming.
Come on, Angie, wherever you are, come and talk to your Uncle Paul. I'm very friendly on the wireless. Down this way. It is.
This is the knitwear store. Hello.
Here's Russet.
And how's the knitwear going?
It's going very well.
Going very well. We've got some nice weather today as well, then.
It's absolutely gorgeous today.
It's been really nice to think that it's 90 years and we've picked this day after 90 years to be here. I think it's marvellous. And is the trade nice and brisk?
It's very brisk, yes, and I'm also having a brisk trade on the raffle as well for the squirrel doorstop.
A squirrel doorstop? Hey, that's different, Ian. Normally, yeah, well, we won't go into that. That's super, and all this is part of the... Oh, you've also got a big teddy bear down here.
That's a big panda, yes.
Big panda, yes. Super, okay, come along. And you, where exactly are you from? As in...
I'm actually based in the general office.
Oh, you mean the general office?
Yes.
Oh, right. She talks well for the office. Thank you very much indeed, super. We'll go along to the plant stall now and say hello to the ladies on the plant stall. Lee Carey has just bought himself 6 potted plants, which he's just put his foot through down it. Look, pick it up. Oh, dear, I can't take him anywhere. That was what... Oh, you got the big bushes. Yeah, the bushes. Thanks, very good. There we go. 1, 2, 3. What's going on? Which way? That way. Just come up for a sound check.
Lee, go away.
Testing. All over the hospital, we can't necessarily hear what is going on outside. So we are working a little bit sort of talk now and so the rest of it. We're actually outside the 407th match, which is really like a lovely couple.
Now, this is Ian going to get an ice cream, ladies and gentlemen.
You've been hit. Would you like to wave for the camera, please?
Revenge. What? Get swine.
Explain that to the wife.
Oh yes.
You're a good shelf.
Yes, got a beer in my head again. I'm happy.
And it was a lovely day, and like I say, we were celebrating the 90th year of Hinckley Hospital.
It is not a fix. The local MP has won some dried flowers, the second prize.
Turn out to the
On to
camera.
the third prize, and it's some whiskey. And let's find out who's won that, if you'd like to pick out the...
There we go. It was a great day, and only that little bit of footage survives. The late Lee Carey there as well. Quite a few people in there no longer with us, but I just wanted to show that again because it was a great day some 33 years ago. Yeah, there we go. Okay then, right, how are you doing with 6 of the best? Anybody got the anagram yet? I haven't seen anybody got the anagram yet. The clue is a country estate not far from Hinckley. We'll do that again in a few moments' time. Now then, going down my playlist, I see we've still got a noser to do, and we've got other things lined up as well. We've already talked about the medieval fair next weekend. Don't forget. Yeah. And Jan Kirby said, "No, I've got note yet." Thanks for the tea yesterday, by the way, Jan and Mike, who came into St Mary's Church yesterday when we were doing the scanning. Much appreciated, because sometimes we get a bit busy and we don't always get a chance for refreshment, you see. So it was very much appreciated. Right, okay, we've seen this before. Going to show it again because it's a nice little local bit. Let's go to Market Bosworth in 1975. Here we go.
Well, you're the champs. What do you reckon of your chances this year?
Well, it's a little bit hard. It gets harder every year, you see.
This one doesn't look too bad.
Oh, no, it's not too bad.
Not as big as
not
last
as big
year's.
as last year. I done 84 pounds 2 years ago.
What's
That's
the secret
largest.
of growing pumpkins?
Well, you want good ground for a start.
Good ground being what?
Well looked after.
You want to get some manure in it. So we're rather lucky here with the manure because we've got a variety. Same as you, if you were on plain cake, you get fed up with it.
No secret injections?
No,
Not
no.
really,
If
no.
you do, well, we tried
You
that. And
you've got to know when to feed it. Like that's the main thing.
Now, I think, Peter, there's somebody you're all a bit afraid of this year.
Well, the lady at the Black Horse has got a fair pumpkin, I think. So we've heard.
She's been keeping it somewhere on the quiet.
Yes, we don't know what it's like yet.
By all accounts, it's a big one.
Well, I think so.
Yes,
I
so
think
we've
it's a
heard,
good
yes.
one.
Well, the moment of truth is pretty
That's it.
close at
Of course
hand.
it is.
It is.
Margaret, they all seem a bit scared of you.
Well, they ought to be.
They reckon you've got a big one, Margaret, is that right?
A fair one, yes.
And you've been hiding it away somewhere?
Yes, definitely.
Where have you had it?
In the garden.
But not your garden.
Oh, no.
Because it's like that, isn't it? It's all a bit undercover, this.
Well, no, my garden just isn't big enough, so my friend grew it.
On an allotment.
Well, yes.
And you kept it very secret where it was.
Yes.
Are you going to win, Margaret?
No, I don't think so, but at least I've had a good try.
Well, you frightened the life out of them
I
anyway.
know,
Well, best
I
of
know.
luck when it does happen. I hope you break your toe.
Moving it in it for a stick, Margaret.
Pardon? Don't blame me, I'm on as well.
No, it is. 49 less 5. 44.
44?
Yeah.
Not bad.
Right.
£61.
Is that the biggest?
Yes, that's the
one.
first prize one, the largest.
What's the biggest you've ever had?
84 one.
I can't remember.
Round about 84.
6 to 7 last year.
How about quality?
Well, you couldn't get better quality, could you, Peter?
I don't know.
No, that is perfect quality.
Is it?
Oh, definite.
Well, what makes quality?
Well, the shape of it and the texture of it. You see, that's ripe. You can't stick your nail in it. If you haven't got it ripe, you can stick your nail in it.
Well, don't keep us in suspense. Who is the winner?
Mr. Tom Hackney, the auctioneer.
He grew it himself.
He grew it himself on his own garden.
You're absolutely sure of that?
I'm perfectly certain of it.
I mean, I know. Do they ever sneak them in?
Oh, they do. We've got one snuck in this morning, but don't say whose it is.
All right. Well, you are. But this is the absolute
This is
genuine article.
Genuine, grown by Mr. Hackney himself on his own garden.
So this year's champion, Mr. Hackney.
Tom Hackney.
Mr. Hackney, you're an auctioneer. What would you take for this?
As much as you'll give me. A good price.
Well, you've won £15.
That's correct.
As first prize.
Yes.
But how much is a pumpkin? £61 weight?
£61.
How much is it worth?
Oh, not very much money, actually.
Is it not? Not
Well,
15 quid?
I wouldn't think so, no.
A bit dodgy, because your wife was one of the people who weighed them.
Yes.
Now, is this all above board?
Well, I don't know whether she's injected mercury into it.
You see, you're like a politician. You've evaded the question, haven't you?
Well, she's been looking after it, so...
This is a genuine pumpkin.
Genuine pumpkin, yes.
Grown in Leicestershire.
Grown at home.
Yeah. And the first prize winner.
Yes, I'm rather amazed, actually, that we won it, actually.
Well, they'll be after you next year, won't
I'm
they?
sure they will, yes.
Yeah, and I remember Mr. Hackney there, the auctioneer. Yeah, you can. Some of us will remember the estate agents, Hackney estate agents in Station Road, and to say, Mr. Hackney, auctioning, you know. So Nassim, looked very, very dapper, didn't he? Absolutely did. Okay then. Right, we're going for a nosy in just a moment's time. And we've just been talking about birthdays. And Jan Kirby says, it's my birthday on the 25th. We've got a lot of family birthdays in July. It's Marie's birthday on the 31st. And David Allen was also, it's his birthday next week. And we won't be here. Oh dear. So maybe, just before we go for our nosy, maybe it probably wouldn't be a bad idea if I could find the HDPP singers and we can sing Happy Birthday to you in advance. So here we go.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.
Jan, Marie and David.
Happy birthday to you.
There we have it, you see. So we're in credit now. So you've had your happy birthdays from HDPP. So there we go. Now then, the clue for the anagram is a country estate not very far from Hinckley. Jan Kirby says, oh, thank you for that. Marie says, thank you. What about the cake? Yeah, what about the cake too? I could just murder a slice of cake now, I must be honest. It's probably winging its way to you. Maybe Mike's got a surprise. And there we go. Wish our people happy birthday. That's great. We'll go for a nosy in just a minute. Like I say, the anagram, as I say, the clue is a country estate not very far from Hinckley. Ooh, and Mrs. G thought it was quite a good one. So there we go. I don't want to give anything else away just at the moment. So while we're doing that, let's go and have a classic noser with Steve. Because, as I say, he's only doing a video just every now and again. So we've got a great back catalogue to be able to refer to and do. So there you go. So let's go. Have a noser with our Steve. And remember, keep going at the anagram, and also remember to like and subscribe to this video because it really does help with our analytics and antibiotics.
We made it. Hello, hey up and hey diddling. My name is Steve, and once again it's a great big warm welcome from myself to Let's Explore. Right then, I just want to start this video by wishing you all a very happy new year. I really do. I hope you had a great Christmas as well. I know I really enjoyed it, but this is our first video of the year. As you can see, the left side, my left leg is actually wet. I've just fell in the brook. You've either already seen that or you'll see that near the end. Anyway, but we're down at Grace Dew again, and I tell you what, folks, Grace Dew is just the gift that keeps on giving. Do you know what? If I could describe Grace Dew, it would be as one massive, great big onion. There's just so many layers of history down here to peel away. It's ridiculous. Now, this video, it's not all about being down at Grace Dew. We're going to Groovy Pool after this. But if you remember, not last year, in 2021, me and Delighted Dave came down to Grace Dew and tried to find what remained, any morsels, if anything, of the medieval mill that used to be down here. Well, we actually found the actual leat. We think we found the leat anyway. And we also found the man-made channel, the cutting that comes from this brook down here at Grace Dew and took water onwards to the mill to turn a fantastic wheel, of course. But we never really explored it any further, did we? Now, last weekend, me and my mate Billy Newton, hello mate if you're watching, we come a walk down Grace Dew. He said, Steve, mate, I've got to come and show you. There's more stuff to show you down Grace Dew that you ain't picked up on yet. And one of them believe it or not, was where the actual sluice used to be. Yes, the sluice gate, the entry to the actual mill race to feed the mill. And it's here, look. It's right here. Now, you've got a bit of a wall here, you know. Now, I don't know if that's the other side of it, on that side, I don't know. But as you're looking at right now, you've got stonework on this side, and you would have had stonework on the opposite side as well. And I imagine somewhere there would have been a bit of a sluice gate down here. Let's give you a closer look of it. Right, so as you can see, stood in the brook, trying not to fall into it again. We've got this wall that's fell in, what you've already seen. I don't know if that's part of the old sluice here. I'm not sure, to be honest. But you can see this a lot better now. There was once a channel right here. It's been filled in and it curved around there. But look at this, everyone. We've got really old stonework here. Now, there was a mill mentioned in the 13th century down at Greystew. I'm not going to commit myself and say this is 13th century, what you're looking at. Really, I'm not going to commit myself there. I think we can safely say it's more than likely older than the 18th century. So we may be going into the 17th with this at least. But many people might see this as just a load of old stonework thrown together. I see it as a lot more than that. This is very historically important to me. But, you know, if you were to dig down the side of here, I mean, maybe the Friends of Greystew have already done that. I mean, I really don't know. But this would go a decent way round here, I think. But absolutely fantastic, that. So, yeah, there would have been, I imagine, a sluice gate here somewhere. Right then, what I think we'll do now, we'll get a sends over to Gruby Pool, because there used to be 2 mills over near Gruby Pool. Another fantastic piece of history, Gruby Pool, all on its own. Now, I don't know if you just about met this bank out here behind me. That's the far side of the actual mill race, the leat, if you like, that went down to the old medieval mill. That's if it was medieval, the parts of it that we found over there and what I've just been showing you. But love it down here, I always have done. I don't know why I'm walking on stepping stones for, I've got my wellies on. Although, having said that, my feet are pissing wet, aren't they? After falling in the bloody brook. Right then, so for the second part of today's video, we need to get a sends over to Gruby Pool, which is on the outskirts of the village of Gruby in Leicestershire. And what you're looking at here, courtesy of the National Library of Scotland, is an Ordnance Survey map dated around about 1910 of Gruby Pool. Now, as you can see, to the east of the pool, you can see where it says sawmill. That's what we're going to go and look for first. And then after that, to the north of the pool, can you see where it says boathouse? Well, just to the north, the immediate north of that boathouse, used to be an even older mill. Now, the sawmill, I think, was built in the 19th century after they demolished the old one, I think. And the old one was built, I think, in the 18th century, so the 1700s. And it's quite interesting with the older of the 2 mills, because I was trying to find some information about it online because I didn't even know it existed until the other day. I know about the sawmill because, as you can see, it's on the map. But the even older mill, I had to do a lot of trepsing through Google, and I came across a PDF file. And I think, who's it by actually? I've got the laptop with me now. So it's provided by Leicestershire Historian 2005, I think. It's a PDF, and the actual write-up is called The Location Puzzle of the Old Gruby Mill, and it's written by David Ramsey. So if it wasn't for this David Ramsey fella, I wouldn't know hardly anything about this. Anyway, without any further ado, let's go for a nosy. Come on. Right then, so here we are then, we're down at Gruby Pool, and as you can see, it's an absolute haven for the local wildfowl population. I mean, look at all these swans here, good number of them, isn't there? Look at all the mallards as well. I tell you what, they're everywhere you go. Everywhere there's water, you get mallards, don't you? Fantastic. But we're actually going to start down here on the eastern side of the pool, because we're going to try and locate and see what we can find of the old sawmill that we're down here. There is a sluice just over here that I'm going to show you in a few seconds that I'm sure used to power it. In fact, I'm 100% sure it used to power it. And then we'll go to the north of the pool to see what we can find of the old original mill. Let's go and have a nosy. Sorry, I ain't got no bread for you. That's why you're clearing off, isn't it? That's all you wanted me for. Gits. Right then, so just at the side of Newtown Linford Lane here, between the road and the actual pool itself, is this fantastic old sluice gate that I'm sure used to power the sawmill just the other side of that wall there. It's still actually got a lock on it, so I think they still use this, not to power a mill anymore, of course, but I think when maybe there's a bit too much rainfall and this is really high, maybe they let a bit of water out here. I'm not sure, but let me show you it. And there you have it. So for me, this is still actually in use because it's been really well kept. And if you look at the actual shaft itself, at the actual screw this gate up with this sluice gate, it looks well oiled to me, so it's not rusted away, has it? So for me, this is still in use. Right, let's go and see what we can find in the mill, if anything. And here's the overflow weir, flowing very well. I've been down there in this culvert under this road in the summer, you know, when it was very dry. There was nothing coming over here. Extraordinary, isn't it, the power of water. Right then, so we do have remains of a sawmill here, and you've got some strategically placed stonework here as well. Now this is the actual mill race that leads up to that sluice gate at the side of Gruby Pool there at the side of the road. But, oh, just got to watch where I'm going, it's very slippy. Now all this here is man-made. So I've actually got cut stone here. It's actually covered in moss and all sorts now. But it looks like they've actually had to cut this through rock either side of here. That is natural rock there. And a bit there as well, so fascinating. We'll have a look at the sluice while we're here from this side as well, but again, extraordinary stuff. This actually looks quite interesting through here, to be honest with you. Yeah, very interesting. Yeah, they've actually cut the granite out here. There were buildings on the right of me here, so fantastic. Love to see red engineering brickwork, don't we? And we've got it either side here, look. Right, what's in this puppy then? Right, oh, this water ain't deep, is it? I don't want wet feet today. I've got an interesting old grill here, look. I wonder what used to be there then. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. Something used to slide up and down there. Look, I wonder if there was another sluice there. I'll tell you what, it smells stagnant in here. Right, look at that. I ain't going to go through there because I'd have to crawl. I ain't crawling nowhere today. That's very old there. Look at that really old granite there. I bet that come out of the quarries here at Gruby, you know. So that goes up to the sluice gate, the other side of the road, that does. Nice that, isn't it? Very nice. I think the wheel was here, look. See that wall there? That's man-made there to the right of the camera tripod. So I think this is a wheel pit just here. I really do. I might be wrong, but to me, it looks where it would have been. We know this is the mill race, so for me, man-made wall there, wheel sat roughly here somewhere. Right, this area that you're looking at here now that's all overgrown and got earth put back on top of it, I'm pretty sure that's natural rock there, you know, and same here. And it's almost like they've cut the rock to suit that was already part of the earth and perhaps built the mill on top of here. I'm sure they did, because just the other side of that black pipe there is where I've just been showing you where I think the wheel pit was. In fact, the wheel pit pretty much where the black pipe is going over the top. Because if you look at this, look, now this was a sawmill, of course. Now, you've got a square channel here, look. Wall there, wall there. I think, I might be wrong, I think this is the saw pit and the wheel was there where the black pipe is, actually powering the saw, because it goes through here, look. Now, you'll have to excuse this area. The topography's changed no end since the place was demolished. But look at that, how that's been cut out there, look. Can you see it? So I think perhaps there were walls here on top of here. I might be wrong, but there's the actual tail race, look. So the wheel was up there, and then the tail race tumbles down here into that brook there. And of course that brook is coming from that overflow weir that I was showing you earlier. Right then, so it's quite interesting here, you know, because this here is Newtown Linford Lane going in that way to Newtown Linford, but it didn't always do that. The road used to bend round here and carry on that way towards Newtown Linford. Now on the left-hand side would have been where the old mill is, but this is all because of the Enclosure Act. After the Enclosure Act, they changed the road and took it that way to Newtown Linford. But you may be thinking to yourself, what was the Enclosure Act? Well, basically, back in the day, us commoners used to have livestock and, you know, grow products on the land and what have you, where we could. It was called common land. And the thing of it is, you know, this land was owned by very wealthy landowners, you know, lords of the manor and what have you. And of course, Groby, like everywhere else, had a lord of the manor. But the Enclosure Act, what they did, they basically privatised the land even more, meaning that the likes of me and thee couldn't have livestock and what have you and grow vegetables on these strips of land anymore, taking more power off the people and freedom, as per usual. Right then, we'll head down here, this being the old road of course, which is still a right of way. Makes a change for me, don't it, being on a right of way? Because just over this fence here is where the mill used to be, so we'll see if there's any sign of it or anything, any earthworks or something. I'm not expecting brick or stonework or anything like that. Let's go and check it out. Right, so what you've got here is something very interesting. So this map that you're looking at was drawn in 1757 by John Doherty, and it's actually a pre-enclosure map. Now, I'm not certain, but I think they enclosed the area in 1778, but don't quote me on that because I might be totally wrong. All right, but it's quite interesting here because it says Groby Mill, but they've spelt Groby with a double O. But then to the south, where Groby Pool is, they've spelt it as it is today with one O. You know, so I'm not really sure what they've done there. But what's very interesting, you can see the old, the white mill race coming from the left of the screen, just above where it says Groby Mill there. And what's also interesting, to the right, you can see where it says Newtown Lane. Now, I've just been telling you that they altered the course of that road. And as you can see, the top right-hand corner, it goes to the north to Newtown Linford, but you can just see at the top of the screen where it turns left and runs parallel with the mill there. So very interesting that would have been a very old coach road, I imagine. So just like the one before, this map I also pulled off the online write-up, the PDF file by David Ramsey, and this shows it all in a bit more detail. Now, as you can see, where it's marked Y on the map, that is the pre-enclosure road to Newtown Linford. Now, you can see just below that it says Mill Leet with an arrow pointing to it. Then you've got an arrow saying Groby Mill, Century 1800. So we pretty much know it was built in the 1700s by the looks of that. And where it says X, that is post 1789 enclosure road to Newtown. So that must be then, I was wrong earlier when I said 1778, I was 11 years out, it was 1789 by the looks of it. Very interesting. So unfortunately there isn't any photographs of the old mill. I couldn't actually find any of the sawmill either, to be honest with you. There may be some, I don't know. But what you've got here is the next best thing. So you've got a lithograph here that was actually printed in 1820. And I think not long after 1820, this mill was demolished because as you're looking at it now, it was in quite a poor state apparently when the artist actually drew this. And as you can see to the right of the building, you can just make out the wheelhouse with the actual wheel in it there, can't you? Now, I'm not sure if that's facing the west towards where the actual mill races towards the building or to the east. I couldn't tell you, to be honest, but that's fantastic, isn't it? And it was printed in London, published at Rowney and Forster's at 51 Rathbone Place, June 1820. Let's carry on with the nosy. Oh, and just before I forget, before we carry on with his nosy, this old lithograph is courtesy of the millsarchive.org online. Right then, so the old mill down here at Gruby, to the north end of Gruby Pool, used to stand in this vicinity somewhere. The wheel would have been, I mean, I'm guessing now really, around this vicinity somewhere. Now, as you can see, you've got this raised bank here, this earthwork. Very interesting this, because what this actually is, albeit filled in quite a bit now, this day and age in 2023, is the actual mill feeder, the leat or the mill race. We'll walk that way and trace what we can of it, because we might find bits and bobs, you never know. But unfortunately, the mill isn't here anymore. If you was to come in here with a digger and a ditching bucket, you may well find, perhaps, some sort of stonework or brickwork, I'd imagine. Maybe that's took place in the past with archaeologists. That I really don't know. But we'll follow this anyway. Right, so I'm actually walking away now from the mill, which sat a few yards behind me just there to the north of Gruby Pool. And if you look carefully, can you just work it out? There's one bank and there's the other. You've got a slight depression in the ground here. This is the mill race, albeit filled in quite a bit. Let's proceed to the west and see what else we can see. Right then, so we've now reached the boundary, what I think is known as Old Wood. And we've just walked about half a mile from where the old mill used to be. And the actual stream, the mill race that fed it, actually carries on into the woodland. I think this piece of the brook here was actually once part of it, but it's since been diverted. The one that we've been tracing headed down there. It's quite interesting here, you know, because what they've done, they've diverted the brook around here. Maybe it always went round there. Maybe there used to be a sluice here. That I really don't know. There's a really old culvert down here that I think goes under this track. I'm pretty sure it does, and I think that is our leat. So we'll finish here and I'll show you this today. Really enjoyed this nosy, to be honest, and I've enjoyed putting it together as well. Right, so this here then is what I think are the remains of an 18th century culvert. And I'm not going to be able to get my actual camera in there by the looks of it. See this old stonework here. There's actually the water's actually going round the outside and down this channel here that's got engineering brickwork either side. But our leat that powered the mill race, carried on through there down towards the mill. Right, well, unfortunately, that concludes the first video of 2023, and I really hope you enjoyed it. I've really enjoyed this one, to be honest with you. Really enjoyed putting it together. I did the first half down Grace Dew yesterday because I got really wet, to be honest. You'll see a couple of bloopers at the end of the outro here. The first blooper, where I fall in the brook, I actually fell in it worse after that, but didn't catch it on camera, and I've just had a really good fall in the last scene that I recorded behind the camera in Old Wood there. But I hope you enjoyed it. I mean, I love making these videos. It's not all about finding stuff that's really intact, you know, full buildings and all that. I love to find the clues, a bit like this that I'm standing in now. Now, you'll hardly see it on the camera. It's only the slightest depression at this point, this old mill race that races about half a mile down there towards the old 18th century mill at Gruby, but it's only the slightest depression, as you can see. Right, it's that strange weather where it's raining, but it's really sunny as well. Typical January, typical British weather for you. Anyway, as per usual, please like, subscribe and share, and you can bet your last imaginary quid and Rolo that I'll be seeing you very soon at the next one. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you soon. Thank you so much for watching. See ya, bye.
There we have it. I said it'd be a good one now, didn't I? And we certainly have had another good one. Now that I'm just looking, actually, because I haven't seen anybody that's got the anagram yet. And we think that, well, I last heard that Mr. Smuggley had taken John Jr. home. So, Mr. Smuggley, I don't think he's had a go at it so far. Anyway, we'll be giving you the answers, indeed, for 6 of the best in a few moments' time. Meanwhile, everybody enjoying that nosy. Jane Brown says, thank you, Steve. Great nosy. And, yeah. Alan Kropp saying, why don't we see you fall in, Steve? You see, aren't you? you know who your friends are when they say that. Well, nice one. And like I say, it's a good one. And the good thing about what Steve's done, like I say, we've got a great back catalogue, which means we pick one out. Or if there's a particular nose of Steve's you want me to screen again, let me know, and I'll happily put it on the playlist, and we can do that for you, no problem at all. And the clue, as you can see there, I'll put a big clue there for the anagram. Just there we go. And it says the anagram clue: a country estate not far from Hinckley. You'll find the village close by is also in the anagram. So if you find the village, you should find the estate. I shouted it out like that, you know, because I do like to help where I can. Okay, but we're almost at the time where we'll be. Where we'll be giving you the answers to 6 of the best in just a few moments' time. Steve says, I forgot to put the bloopers in, Alan. There you go. Jan Kirby's still not got it. Oh. And we've got a perler of a clue. If I was to give it, like Mrs. G said, they'll get it straight away. They'll get it straight away. Isn't that right? Yeah. She's eating the jam sandwich off. Yeah. Anyway, so... I suppose, as Steve would say, with no further ado, maybe we can go into 6 of the best in just a few moments' time. For the benefit of anybody new watching this video for the first time, great that you could join us. And we do this every Sunday night, but just to let you know, we won't be here next Sunday and possibly the following Sunday, because I doubt I will have time to put a programme together by then. So we're going to have a couple of weeks off. So what are you going to do? What are you going to do with your Sunday nights for the next couple of weeks, let's say? I'd love to see your responses in the chat room, please, you know. That'd be interesting. Oh, look, Mr. Smugly says, I'm back but can't get the anagram. Mr. Smugly, I am surprised. Shocked indeed. Like I say, my advice is go through that anagram, see if you can find a local village name, then that will point you in the right direction for the country estate. Shocker. Now listen, I'll tell you, because I'm feeling really generous, I'm just wondering, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'm going to throw in something extra now, because I was going to wrap it up now, but just to give you an extra chance to get the anagram, bearing in mind, as it says there in the clue, anagram clue, a country estate not far from Hinckley. You will find the village that is close by, also in the anagram. Find the village, you find the estate. Last chance. I'm going to throw this another one of Stu View productions in now, and then we'll do the answers to 6 of the best. Let's talk about old lost fizzy drinks.
Earlier this year, the Coca-Cola Company decided it was going to rename. One thing that most of us will happily recall is the 6-week summer break from school, which always seemed to go on forever. During this time, we would go on holiday with our parents, play out all day with friends, and go into a frenzy of excitement every time we heard the jingle of the ice cream van. While there are many ice creams and lollies from those days which most of us still remember today, such as Cider Quench, Fab, Zoom and Feast, many of which are still going strong today, there are other long-lost frozen treats which are now forgotten, and it is these neglected former favourites which we will pay tribute to today. This is Lost Ice Creams and Lollies That You May Have Forgotten. During the 60s, 70s and 80s, the 2 main producers of individual ice creams and lollies in the United Kingdom were Walls and Lions Made. In fact, it's almost...
Do you know, this is amazing, ladies and you've probably already noticed, you're seeing pictures, but you're not getting the right commentary. And I can see what's going on, ladies and gentlemen. Wait a minute. If I just put the screen back, I was thinking this is a bit strange. That sounds very familiar. What I've got to do is try in my ultimate skills here, and I wouldn't bet too much on that. If I get down to what I was doing, which was I'm going to do lost fizzy drinks. Now then, bear with me just while I make a quick edit here, and I want to see if we can now have this how it should have been. I do hope this is going to work, because you never know, do you, whether it's going to work or not. Here we go. I think we need some sound as well.
Yes, Lilt, the drink with a totally tropical taste and a brand that has been around since 1975, is now known by the name Fanta, Pineapple and Grapefruit. Why this needed to be done, I really don't know, but it did get me thinking of other soft drink brands that are now sadly defunct. In today's video, I'll be taking a nostalgic look back at a selection of lost soft drinks that have long since disappeared from the nation's corner shops and supermarkets. Now, just before we launch into our retro drinks list, let's take a moment to remember Lilt as it used to be.
Here comes the Lilt man. Lilt. Here comes the Lilt man. Lilt. Lilt with a totally tropical taste. Pineapple and grapefruit. Lilt. And the sun is bright. Lilt. And the sand is white. Lilt with a totally tropical taste. With a totally tropical taste. Lilt.
From a true nostalgia standpoint, when talking about soft drinks of the past, there is surely nothing that brings back such warm memories as the Pop Man. What a moment it was every week when, as a child, you would hear the rumble of the lorry pull up outside your house, followed by the clang of the glass bottles on the doorstep. Bottles filled with fizzy pop flavours such as cream soda, dandelion and burdock, limeade and cherryade. The two main brands that made door-to-door deliveries were Corona and Alpine, although there were probably others available too, depending on where in the UK you lived. The word Corona is obviously associated with something else these days, but for more than a century it meant just one thing: pop. Alpine wasn't around as long as Corona, but it still had a near 50-year run before finally bowing out in the late 90s. Before we move on to our next entry, who remembers the classic TV ad for Corona from the 70s?
Come on, come on, come on, move, move, move. These aren't just any old bubbles getting into this bottle of Corona. No, sir. Are they fizzy? Everyone has passed the Corona physical. Nice. Boy, it's really tough back there. No, no, no.
Corona. Every bubble's past its physical.
That's it, boys. Let's see you fizz, fizz, fizz.
Another name that is always sure to get mentioned when reminiscing about soft drinks of the past is Cresta. Mainly because of the memorable advertising campaign fronted by the Cresta Bear, whose catchphrase was,
"It's frothy, man."
These fantastic adverts were created by the same agency responsible for the Smash Aliens and the Sugar Puffs Honey Monster. Cresta was different to other types of pop on the market in that, rather than being a fizzy drink, it was, as stated in the slogan, frothy. The flavours were fruit-based, with available varieties being strawberry, orange, lemon and lime and pineapple. In later years, a blackcurrant version was added to the range.
Baby, I will be your ever-loving fan. Give me the drink I really love, a bottle or a can. It's frothy, man. I don't want to drink the ocean, 'cause man, that's really rough. But when it comes to Cresta, here's one bear that just can't get enough. It's frothy, man.
Remember when school tuck shops actually sold things that kids wanted to buy, rather than products that someone on a committee thinks they should be buying? During the 70s and 80s, the soft drink of choice at tuck shops across the land was Panda Pops. Mainly due to the low price point and smaller size bottle, the Panda Pops range was hugely popular with young children. Flavours included cherry, strawberry, blue raspberry and even a jelly and ice cream flavour. Unfortunately, Panda Pops were extremely heavy on the sugar content, and by 2011 the brand was axed by its parent company due to growing concerns about children's health. Speaking of being school age, there was nothing that made you feel more grown up than drinking either a Top Deck shandy or a shandy bass. Even though they contain the tiniest amount of alcohol, indeed the very bare minimum, the very fact that there was even a trace of it in these drinks made every child feel like an adult. Top Deck came in a range of flavours, including your standard lemonade shandy, a cider shandy, and even a limeade and lager version. Today, it would probably be considered unthinkable to promote a soft drink for the younger market containing the word lager in its name. Top Deck cans were adorned with the by royal appointment seal, so it seems that someone at Buckingham Palace was a fan. Although there were many brands of shandy available at the time, the main rival to Top Deck was Shandy Bass. Bass Brewery marketed Shandy Bass as the true beer shandy, making it quite irresistible to children who wanted to emulate their parents. The fact that Shandy Bass came in a beer-style bottle as well as a can made it seem all the more authentic. Drink a bottle of Shandy Bass while pretending to smoke a candy cigarette or a licorice pipe, and you were ready to take on the world. If you remember Quattro but can't quite recall the decade in which it was popular, it isn't too difficult to work it out. From the name to the packaging and the advertising campaign, everything about the drink Quattro screams 1980s. If you're still not sure, take a look at this. First launched in 1982 by Coca-Cola, Quattro only lasted 4 years before being discontinued in the UK. However, it is still available in many South American countries. The flavour of Quattro was very similar to another fruit-based drink from Coca-Cola, Lilt, containing as it did hints of pineapple, grapefruit, orange and passion fruit, each of these represented by the 4 coloured squares on the can. As Quattro was so typically 80s, perhaps it's fitting that it was both launched and discontinued in that very decade. Another Coca-Cola brand that is now defunct is Tab. First introduced in the United States during the 60s, Tab was launched in the UK in the 1970s. Tab was one of Coca-Cola's first forays into the world of diet drinks, and it quickly became a popular alternative to classic Coke, although it never sold quite as well in the UK as in its native US. In 1982, Coca-Cola introduced Diet Coke to the world, which saw the popularity of Tab take a bit of a hit. A new variant, Tab Clear, was launched in the early 90s, but it didn't last long. Despite Diet Coke taking over as the premium fizzy drink for the calorie conscious, it was only in 2020 that Coca-Cola announced it was going to cease production of Tab in the United States. Personally, I've never been a fan of bubblegum, so there was no chance I was ever going to take to a fizzy drink that tasted of the wretched stuff. Hubba Bubba Soda was launched in the late 80s and was discontinued in the 90s. I can't say whether Hubba Bubba Soda actually tasted like bubblegum because I never drank one. This isn't a drink I'd like to see make a comeback, but I'm sure there are plenty of you out there who would. Of all the drinks featured in this video, perhaps the most obscure one is Jokers from Quash. Promoted as funny, frothy and fabulous fun, Quash Jokers drink was also said to be full of fantastical fizz. Available in flavours such as Orangeade and Cherryade, each can of Jokers featured legendary cartoon duo Tom and Jerry, as well as a joke that you could then tell to all your friends at school. Sadly, today, using characters which appeal to children to promote sugary carbonated drinks is no longer allowed. But back in the 1970s, when Quash Joker's drink was on the market, we didn't worry about all that. Thanks for joining me on this little trip down Nostalgia Alley. Hopefully it brought back some warm memories for you. Please do join me next time for more nostalgic goodness.
Thank you, Stu TV. Another good one there. Blimey, remember some of those drinks, but it's frothy, man. Yeah, great canned drink. And of course, everybody remembers the R. White advert. I'm a secret lemonade drinker. I'm sure that was a feature in one of Stu's forthcoming videos, I'm sure. Okay, that was a bonus for you because I'm not here next week and possibly the week after. So we threw that in anyway. And also to give you time to get the anagram. Oh, and the answers, indeed, to 6 of the best. Are you ready for it? Now, remember, before we even start, David Blower, before we even start, we're going to do one question at a time. You can put your answers in, okay? Do not, please, if you put your answer in, let's say for question 4, when we're only doing question 2, I'll disqualify you. We've really got to get some order in this place. We really have. And it's interesting because as far as I know, Mr. Smugly is struggling. We'll find out whether he gets it at the very last moment. We will find out. Okay, 6 of the best. Here come the answers. And we'll start, of course, right at the beginning with question 1. Between 2017 and 2022, how many times was the A5 railway bridge struck by lorries? Okay. Jan Kirby straight in. She should know. Jane Brown comes in straight away with 88. Yes, 88. And David Allen's got it right. John Denny, 88. Well done. Yes, indeed. It's been struck 88 times. Now they're on about digging further down so you can get under it and all the rest of it. So, yeah, and well done, Russet, getting 88 as well. Dennis Perkins on 88 as well. So that is true. One of the most bashed bridges in Britain. And they're going to try and do something about it. But anyway, I don't want to get political on that because we don't do politics here on HDPP. Let us move on now. Question 2. Now then, the letters of the word allergy can be rearranged to form 3 other 7-letter words. Can you find all 3 of them? Right there. Blimey. Oh, Dave B's woke up. It's okay, I'm nearly asleep, says he. Jane Brown says gallery, regally, largely. Yeah, well done, Jane. Also echoed by Jan Kirby. And, of course, yes, Mr. Smugly, he also comes in there, gets that one right. And well done, Russet, that's super. Dennis Perkins. Yeah, what Jane Brown said. And well done, David Allen, as well. That was good. That was like a little bit of an extra thing on wordplay and stuff. So, well done. We are now moving on to question 3, our true or false. Midsummer's Day in the Northern Hemisphere, the sun is directly above the equator. True or false? We're waiting for the answers to suddenly start coming in now. This is when I have to... Jane Brown says, it's false, you know. Is it, Jane? Are you sure? David Allen says false. Jan Kirby, I noticed I put legally. Jan. John Denny says false. Everybody's saying it's all false, I tell you. Well, I'm going to surprise you now because you're right. It is false. It is false indeed. On Midsummer's Day in the Northern Hemisphere, the sun is actually directly above the Tropic of Cancer. Okay, there you go. And Russet's gone for true. Sorry, Russet, that has to be a... And also, Jan Kirby with that. Oh, there you go. So, remember, it's the Tropic of Cancer in the Northern Hemisphere and the Tropic of Capricorn in the Southern Hemisphere at midsummer. Yeah. In the middle, then. Jan, what are you doing tonight? There we go. Okay, moving on. So, give yourself a point there if you said false. Right, Guess the year. This is the year that Radio Caroline sank in the Thames. It was a shame. Robert Runcie becomes the Archbishop of Canterbury, and MG car production ends after 56 years. But what was the year? Jane Brown comes in with 1980. John Denny comes in with 1980. And Dennis Perky comes 1980. Jan Kirby 1980. Yeah, you are on the ball. Well done, David Allen, as well, getting that right tonight. It was 1980, indeed, was the correct answer. And if David Blow is still awake with us, keep up with us, Dave. Please stay awake. Where in Hinckley? Really easy, actually. To be fair, I did make it nice and easy. Who's going to identify where we are in Hinckley? In this particular time. In fact, I'm just looking to see if I've got the answer here in a minute. So, Jane Brown, she's on fire tonight, is our Jane. Ex-Servicemen's Club Hinckley, the Old Legion Club, says Jan Kirby. Ex-Servicemen's Club Station Road, says Dennis Guest. Station, quite correct. This is where we were. You are quite correct. The Ex-Servicemen's Club, St Mary's Road, as Kevin Beasley said, or Station Road. I'll give you that. Yeah, that is indeed where we were. Big deep breath now as we come to the anagram question. I'm waiting to see before I say anything. Oh, Alan's already given me his scores. Alan 1, Marie 0. Ashby in Pend knocks Mark down. Okay. Oh, Jane says still no idea. Okay, let me just say, I'm just waiting to see if Mr. Smuggley's coming in. Is Mr. Smuggley coming in? I meant... No. John... I mend, yes. In other words, no. Right, it looks like, and I think even Queen Bee's not had a go. Right, okay. And Jan says I've got 3 and 2. People are giving the scores. The anagram is a bit of a killer. Then Mrs. G got it. Look, she's you trust me. Okay, I'm going to give you the answer then. The answer being, are you ready? Newnham Paddocks, Monks Kirby. Newnham Paddocks, Monks Kirby. Now, if I'd have said to you, it's the place where you go to see the daffodils every April time, that would have gave it away, I think. So, we were looking for Newnham Paddocks, Monks Kirby. It's a country estate. The house is no longer there, but they open it up at daffodil time so you can go and enjoy all of that. The daffodils around that time of year are absolutely stunning. I keep meaning to go but never seem to make it, but that's it. Newnham Paddocks. If you Google Newnham Paddocks, and it's Paddocks with an X, not paddocks, it's paddocks. You know what I mean. Look at that. Anyway, so Jane, you may have not known, but that's somewhere where you could go. We have posted pictures of the main gates to Newnham Paddocks. If you type it in on HDPP, you will see pictures of it. Okay, Newnham Paddocks. Russet says, well, I had the Monks Kirby, but no idea of the estate. The house was cracking. It's another tragedy, the same as Gobsall Hall. It's the same sort of tragedy, you know, it was just razed to the ground, yeah? And Jan Kirby says, blimey, I've been there. My ancestor worked in the family for 3 generations. Jan, you learn everything here on HDPP. Jeff Wallace says, well, you got me with that. Well, there you go. Newnham Paddocks with an X, Monks Kirby. Go find it, yeah? And John, even Mr. Smuggley says, I got nowhere near. Well, you're honest, John. So there we go. That's where we're... And I think we've had an anagram with Newnham Paddocks before, actually. I seem to think so. However, thanks for taking part. Let's get your scores in. I know... what have you got? I think we might have a couple of 5 out of 6s tonight. I think Jane Brown is probably on that one. So just give us your scores now before we wrap the programme up, if you would. Yeah. Anne Hunt says 3 for me. Well done, Anne. And say Dennis Perkins saying, oh, it sounds nice. Yeah, it's lovely just down at Monks Kirby. Right, Dennis Perkins has got 5. Well done, Den. John Denny, 5. Jane Brown, 5 tonight. So I just loved it. Thank you. And have a great holiday. Thank you. 4 from David Allen. That's right, Jan. They do have lovely daffodil event. And Elizabeth Moore or Queen Bee tonight. Yes, it's 4 tonight. Well done. Jeff said, well, I got 4, but no anagram. Well, there you go. But it's all good fun. all good fun. So hopefully you've had your fix of HDPP that'll last you a couple of weeks. As I say, won't be here next week, and the chances are I won't be. Work on the assumption I won't be here the following week because I doubt I'll have time to put a programme together. By which time we'll be into August. We'll be into August by then. It seems incredible to think, doesn't it? Absolutely incredible. I'm glad you've all enjoyed it. And I know we'll miss you. But as I say, looking forward to a break with the grandchildren. My son and his wife, who haven't had a holiday for a long time, so we're taking them. So I just hope the weather is dry. I'm not worried about it being hot. As long as it's dry, great. And I look forward to catching all up with you in a few weeks' time. I will post on the group when the stream will start again. So there you go. In the meantime, please remember to keep it HDPP, to keep it live, and till a couple of weeks' time, I'll see you then. All right. Oh, Dennis Perkins, that would be all, Your Highness. It certainly will, Perkins. Thank you very much. Take care, everybody. Good night. Oh, hello. Oh, hello. I don't know how many viewers we've lost on the way out there. But anyway, it's been an eventful night. It's been a great night. Just time for just literally 2 or 3 dad jokes to send you off to bed with a chortle, give you a laugh. Well, hopefully they will. Anyway, so if you've all ready, we'll start. Few little dad jokes for you. I tried to remarry my ex-wife, but she figured out I was only after my money. I like that one. Ah, dear. I tried to eat a clock for my lunch, but it was very time consuming. And what do you call a herd of sheep tumbling down a hill? A landslide. Nearly there. Pain almost up. What cheese is made backwards? Edam. And, as my dad always used to say, the sky's the limit, which is probably why he got fired from his job at NASA. And finally, what did the police say when they raided a seafood restaurant? Don't move a muscle. Good night. Take care.